Well, welcome to the Tonight Show. I am your host, Mike Caple. We are so glad to have you joining us tonight. We have a great show in store for you. We're going to be interviewing one of our very own students, Riley Renfro. She is a senior at Claremore High School. She was a part of the volleyball team and the show choir. And as a matter of fact, she is one of our very own worship leaders here at Cedar Point Students. We are looking forward to interviewing her. Before we get to that moment, though, we thought it would be great. Obviously, the big thing going on right now is the coronavirus. And so it's a very serious thing. We don't want to take it lightly, but we also think that it's important to add some humor to it. So right now, we want to take a moment and just share some memes with you from the coronavirus. Here on the Tonight Show with Mike Caple, let's look at these here really quickly. Oh man, we've all been faced with this situation, whether or not to go out of the house or not. And so let me know if you can relate to this or not. This says, when you leave your family to go buy groceries and toilet paper. Been there. You know, I know many of you guys love your animals and love your dogs. I myself am a dog person. I'm a boxer. I love him to death, although sometimes he gets on my nerves. But I know some of you guys love your dog so much that you like to leave the television on for your dog. And so if you've left the news on for your dog at all, this one says, when you leave the TV on for your dog on a news channel and come home 8 hours later. I know many of our students have messaged me and they've been struggling with the fact that they can't get out of the house. And, you know, for me, personal fitness is a big thing. And so I like to work out. And this meme right here says, this quarantine's got me doing workouts in my room like I'm serving 25 to life. Another thing many of our students have had to wrestle with is the fact that, you know, their spring break vacations got canceled. And so we have one here that says, when your holiday has been canceled by the coronavirus but don't want to give up on your dreams. This guy is definitely very creative. I hope many of you students are coming out with things like that, letting them know what's going on there. Let's see, next one we got here. I don't like that one. What's going on here? Okay, before and after here from the coronavirus. We know many of you guys have stocked up on food, but because you get bored, one of the things that you might be doing is eating a lot. Those of you that are high school seniors, maybe you're looking to put on that freshman 15 a little bit early. Please don't do that right now, though. This is a before and after of Barbie and quarantine. I don't even know what to say with that one. So many thoughts going through my mind. What type of man is Ken? You know, what happened to Ken? We just don't know. All of those different things. Moving on, though. You know what? This is actually something that's been fun. How about this one? When you walk into the bathroom and find you dropped a $20 bill. Yes, toilet paper is becoming a hot commodity right now. We certainly understand that. For those of you that do run out of toilet paper, though, or you're looking to make more money, here we got this one for you. It just simply says, you're welcome. Oh, man, let's see. Going on. This is actually a good one. I actually really like this one. I know many of you guys are kind of bummed because you may not get to spend all that time, you know, connecting with the ladies or the guys, especially that special someone, and you're wanting to maybe go out on a date. Here's a pickup line for you. It says, if the coronavirus doesn't take you out, can I? Hashtag flirting 2020. Moving on. After you get that date and you begin to go out on that date, maybe you think you found the one, you pop the big question, and now you're like beginning to plan getting married. Obviously, photo shoots and engagement photos are a big part of that. And so we just want to give you a sneak peek of what your 2021 engagement photos might look like. This says couples getting married in 2021. Engagement photos will look like this. Awesome. And then this one is actually really great. Yeah, I'm just going to show it to you. Coming out of quarantine like this. Hopefully you don't let your eyebrows get that bad. Please use some tweezers or something in the meantime to do that. Big important thing, again, we just want to highlight the coronavirus and let you guys know that it is a very, very serious thing. Our last one here actually says this: can y'all please just follow the government instructions so that we can knock this coronavirus out and be done? I feel like a kindergartner that keeps losing more recess time because one or two kids can't follow the directions. I think that's something we can all relate to in this season. and it's just a very, very important season. Make sure, if you guys would, wash your hands. Try not to touch your face. Use hand sanitizer as much as possible. And make sure you are following all the guidelines for social distancing. At this time, though, we just want to let you guys know that you can actually send us your memes. Make sure and tag us, CedarPoint.Students, if you have any of those, or go on our Facebook page. Tag us in those. We'd love to see them. Maybe if you share those with us, we might actually share those on next week's show. At this time, though, we want to get into our interview with Riley Renfro. And so if you guys would, wherever you're at, stand up, clap your hands, and welcome Riley Renfro as she comes to join us today. Riley, thank you so much for joining us. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and be safe.
Thank you.
Put that on. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here, just to be on the safe side, social distancing, practicing, all of those different things. So, everybody, this is Riley Renfro. Man, I put a lot of hand sanitizer
Me too.
on.
It's kind of smelly.
It's very smelly, but I feel safe doing that. Anyway, so this is Riley Renfro again. She is a senior at Claremore High School. She is a member of the volleyball team, the show choir, and then also a member of our worship team here at Cedar Point Students. All right, so obviously the big thing going on for you right now is the coronavirus as a senior. And so how have you been just processing and dealing with everything that's going on right now?
At first it was very hard. I spent a lot of days in self-quarantine, just laying in bed, watching Disney movies, trying not to think about
What Disney movies have you been watching?
Princess and the Frog mostly is the one I'm on right now.
Princess and the Frog?
Yeah.
I honestly cannot say we watched that one. Recently we watched Frozen 2.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, well, there you go.
Crazy.
It's pretty good.
Might have
Go
to
ahead and
watch
check it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, going on. So you're laying around, just locked in quarantine in your room, watching Disney movies.
Yeah.
How was it like processing through everything with it? I mean, this obviously happens so fast.
Yes.
So you're in school, you get out to go on spring break, and then the next thing you know, school is canceled for at least the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Infinitely maybe for the rest of the school year. What's your thought process on all that? What are some of the questions that you have popping into your mind during this time?
I was surprised at first. I kept telling all my friends were scared that school was going to get canceled the week before spring break. And I was like, guys, I have such a good feeling about it. We're going to be fine. We had a musical on the line for if school got canceled that was in jeopardy. And so everyone was freaking out. I was like, guys, we're fine. Don't worry about it. God is with us. Everything's going to be okay. I just know it's going to be okay. So right when that happened, it was a really big shock to me. It was very scary at first, I think, as it is for most people, because there have been other epidemics that have happened before, but since they don't affect your area, you don't really think about it. But at first it was really shocking, but every day gets a lot better for how I feel about it, and now I'm excited for what the future holds for us, and I'm excited to be able to go out again and go visit the zoo with my friends or go on the school parking lot again whenever that is.
Right. So obviously right there you mentioned the first the thing was the initial shock, which I honestly, for me, it's even been a shock for me as well, and just different things that are going on in regards to that. But then you brought up the feeling of being scared, and I think that's something that not just you, I know myself, I've wrestled with it just when thinking about my wife and my kids, and then all of our students and the people that we go to church with and everything. And so how would you say that you've dealt with that fear? What's been the biggest thing that's helped you with that?
At first it was really bad, and so I don't usually like to distract myself when I have strong emotions. I like to feel them out, but I just had a lot of strong emotions this time.
Absolutely.
So at first, before everything got incredibly crazy, I was hanging out with my friends. I would go to dinner with them. I'd go see them. We'd try to make it as normal as we possibly could. But the more time went on, things started closing down. So I picked up some hobbies. I started playing piano again. I'm learning how to knit and sew, which I never thought I'd do.
Knitting and sewing.
I know.
Hey, that might be a good quality to have if everything shuts down, right?
Yeah, it'd be really nice. But So just being able to pick up hobbies, and it didn't necessarily take my mind completely off the situations, but it just made me feel a lot better and gave purpose to my everyday life.
For your everyday life. So, what about, like, has there been a scripture or anything on that's helped you to deal with the fear? Obviously, you have a relationship with God. You
Yeah.
believe in Him. So, has He helped you in any way dealing with the fear, or has there been any verses that during this time that God's just like spoken to your heart, and that you could share maybe with students that are watching this right now that are dealing with those same things?
Yeah, I actually have one on my phone. So Philippians 4:6 says, "Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done." And I've heard that verse a couple times before, and I'm like, yeah, we should pray about everything. But it's easy to forget to pray when you're worrying about it.
Absolutely.
And a lot of my friends lately have been posting Bible verses and stuff, and that one came across on my Instagram feed, and I saw it, and I was like, wow, this whole time I'm like, why is this happening? I'm so scared. I was so nervous. But I slowly began to pray God and not necessarily ask Him to change everything, but thanking Him for the good things He has given me. Because I think right now, the hard thing is remembering that this is temporary. God is with us, and there are still great things that are happening right now.
Absolutely. I mean, none of this, I've seen a lot of preachers share that, that in this season that this didn't surprise God or anything like that, and being scared and worried. Matter of fact, you mentioned sharing a verse and things like that on your social media. Real quick, what's your Instagram name?
Riley.Renfro.
Riley.Renfro.
Yep.
And then also with that, we here at Cedar Point Church, we have daily devotionals that we are posting Monday through Friday, where student leaders like Riley are going to be actually sharing those. And so make sure you check those out. But a verse that I'll share with you guys that really has just kind of been coming up in my heart during this time dealing with fear is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 7, which says this: "Give all your worries and cares to God, for He cares about you." Different translations there for worries, they'll actually use the term anxiety, which I think during this time there's all kinds of feelings and emotions, anxiety, fear, worry, you name it. It's all kind of encompassed in that. But the important thing is what you're talking about, going to God in prayer and allowing Him and talking to Him about what's going on with those things. And understanding this, that in this season, you're not alone. Like, God cares for you. And He is there with you right now to help you. If you just begin to talk with Him, just like Riley and I are talking now, I think you'll begin to see that that'll help you, because it's helped Riley, it's helped me, and I think there's a lot of other students out there that would help. So if you're not doing that, I want to encourage you just in this season to begin to do that. So let's move on. I know earlier you mentioned your musical and everything that's going on with that. That has been canceled, right?
Yes, it is officially over.
Officially over.
Yeah.
So kind of what's the thought process now? What's your feelings and emotions as you're, again, just processing through that?
Yeah, so we were actually really blessed this year with this musical. We weren't supposed to have one, just funds and support don't allow us to do one every year. But my director told me that if we could get an X amount of signatures, that we could do it. And so we worked so hard to get this plan in line, and when it all fell apart at first, everyone was devastated. We all went to Whataburger that night and cried about it, the whole cast. This was the first musical I had gotten a lead in. It was a really hard loss. It was like mourning a death of someone almost.
Absolutely.
Which sounds dramatic, but we all really cared about this musical.
And that's your world, right?
Yes,
right?
That is basically everything I do is music. But it was really hard. But every day I began to learn to thank God for the experiences I did get with all of those people. I think we got about a month and a half of rehearsal in before it got canceled. But at the same time, we didn't learn the whole show the whole way through. We were never on the stage. We never got to see the set come to life. We never got to get into costume. We didn't even get to be off script and learn all of our lines, which sounds horrible. Like, there's so much potential there, but also I'm really thankful for that, because the goodbye for that would have been a lot harder if we were like
Right.
the weekend before the show,
Absolutely.
and it had to get canceled.
So we got to know a lot of people though that maybe you haven't known as well, and spend some time developing with them.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this: how are they dealing with all of that?
Yeah, it's. I think I've honestly been the one to take it the easiest. I keep in contact with all of my cast members every single day. We have a huge Snapchat group chat. Everyone talks about whether they cried themselves to sleep or ate a pint of ice cream to get over it, or if they're just fine. And I think at first it was so hard for everyone. It was heartbreaking because on top of that, we couldn't see each other. Because right after it got canceled was when things got to the point to where they are now, where everything's closed. Parents aren't letting their kids out, which is so understandable. And I'm thankful that we're doing that. But it's getting easier.
Yeah.
We keep in contact. I think everyone's healed more now, and we've all been praying for each other, I think.
So you mentioned praying for each other. So, and that's, again, just right now with that group, is there anything that like somebody has shared with you that's really ministered to you? Because you're not the only one. Obviously, the musical got canceled, but there are students that are joining us that, baseball has been canceled for some, tennis. There's all kinds of things that have been canceled for other students. And so what's really been the thing that's helped you minister and ministered to you during this current season?
Having a different outlook on this whole situation, I think will change your mind completely. The difference between this past week and me this week is a whole nother person. And I know it's easy to just be like, stay positive. Like, we'll get through it. It'll get over. Because we're living in the moment right now. It's hard to see past it. We all have tunnel vision right now. I haven't talked to a single person where we haven't even brought up the coronavirus, But just people are like, my senior year is ruined. This is the worst year ever, whether it's for baseball, basketball, the musical, band, FFA. I've talked to so many people about it. But then I'm like, guys, remember the last FNL night we had? That was so fun. We got to experience so many nights at that football field. And I drove by it today and I was like, wow, that was so much fun. And all the dress up days at school that we all got to participate in, I'm like, thank goodness we don't have uniforms and we can all go crazy and dress up. And like, people are so focused on the now and all the misfortune that's happening. But what has helped me get through a time like this is remembering all the blessings we have gotten this year. And I don't know. I know that's easier said than done, but it's definitely helped me personally.
Well, I mean, so you bring up an interesting thing there, I think, with, just talking about your thought life is a big part and a big aspect to not just this time, but I think your everyday life, just the things that are going to impact you and come out to you. And so 2 verses that I'll just share with you guys really quickly. Again, I know that there are some students that are wrestling with some things like this. One of my favorite verses in the entire Bible, Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 13, says that there is nothing in creation that's hidden from God. And it goes on to say that everything is exposed before his eyes, and he's the one to whom we're accountable. And so I love the attitude that you're bringing with this, recognizing in this moment that, like, I'm not alone. God sees me. He sees everything that's going on, and I can go and talk and pray to him about that. But then also, like, I am accountable to him. And so I've got to, take this situation and make the most of it and make the best of it and control my thought life and not just get down on everything, but think about all the positives. So I love the fact that you have that mentality. And one other verse, Isaiah 54, verse 17, it's an Old Testament verse, but it says basically this, that no weapon that is turned against us is going to succeed, that God's going to silence every voice raised to accuse us. And these benefits are enjoyed by the servants of the Lord, meaning this, that if you have that relationship with God, that one of the things that he's going to do is every weapon that comes against you, he's going to turn it away. He's going to turn against it, and it's not going to prosper. And so here you are faced with this unfortunate situation, your senior year, this musical that you've put on and you fought for and you've ended up getting it. And yet, in spite of all of this, anything that the enemy's tried to come against you and use to literally destroy you and tear you down, you've been able to stand on God and rest upon his shoulders and really turn that around. And this hasn't succeeded in keeping you down and keeping you depressed and keeping you dealing with the anxiety. the worry and the fear. And for that, I really commend you. And I just want to encourage all of you students that are out there watching this tonight, this is an incredible testimony that you have, but just like Riley, she has her ups and downs. Like you said, every day we have to take this thing a day at a time, but you're not alone. God is there with you. He sees you. If you'll begin to talk to him and talk to him about everything that's going on, no weapon formed against you is going to prosper, because again, 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 7, he cares about you. Absolutely. So with that being said, Riley, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then Riley's going to join me for Mike's Wheel of Misfortune. So join us right after this.
Hey guys, reminder to follow us on our social media at Cedar Point Students and CedarPoint.Students on our Instagram, where we're going to have daily devotionals for you Monday through Friday for you to check in, do those devotionals. And then also, if you have a prayer request, make sure you enroll in our Remind Me group where you can send in those prayer requests. Lastly, the Claremore Public Schools are providing free lunches for every kid 18 and under from 10:30 to 12:30 Monday through Friday. And Cedar Point Church is one of those locations for you to stop by and pick up a lunch.
Welcome back to the Tonight Show with your host, Mike Caple. I'm here with Riley Renfro, and at this time, she is going to spin Mike's Wheel of Misfortune. All right, well, Riley, you got the ice bath. So what that means is at some point between now and our next airing, you're going to have to fill your bathtub full of ice and water and completely submerge yourself in it. Oof. Send us that video, because she's going to actually share that video with us to share in our next week's show. So make sure you tune back in next week. One of the other things that we want to encourage you to do, if you're interested in taking part in this challenge this week and you want to do it as well from home and take an ice bath, you can do that. Just make sure you tag us in it. Again, CedarPoint.Students on Instagram, or tag us in it on our Facebook page. We're going to pick one lucky winner and have food delivered to your house if you are that winner. So again, thank you guys for joining us this week. We'll see you next week. Bye.